I want to see Bernie versus Trump because we're in a class war.
During the December Democratic debate, LA Times held a focus group along with conservative pollster Frank Luntz, where they all watched the debate together. And then afterwards, the focus group gave their thoughts on who did best. So I'm going to share some clips here because I think some of this is going to be eye-opening to a lot of people. First, here's the clip where they're discussing who won this debate.
How many of you thought Joe Biden won the debate? Raise your hands. None of you. How many of you thought Amy Klobuchar won the debate? None of you. How many thought Tom Steyer won the debate? None of you. How many thought Andrew Yang won the debate? We have 3 people here. How many of you thought Mayor Pete won the debate? None of you. How many of you thought Elizabeth Warren won the debate? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And how many of you thought Bernie Sanders won the debate? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Now, this is significant because only 6 of you walked in here supporting Sanders. Those people who are not voting for Sanders, but you thought he won the debate, explain to me why. Yes.
I thought his personality came through quite a lot. And for me, that immediate reaction, I always imagine somebody going up against Trump. And that to me sparks like why he won tonight going against these people.
Tell me why.
Because I think he had passion with his answers. He's for the people, and it comes through his answers that he gave us.
Tell me why.
When you still have that many people on the stage in the debate, you need someone who's really animated and who's got the passion and who can still tell you what he's for, not just what he's against. And Bernie's always done that.
I need a couple more who did not walk in here supporting Sanders, but you think he won the debate. Why?
He was very clear in his message regardless. He always stood his ground. He never wavered from his point of view, which is something I've known about him all along. I'm still really leaning towards Warren, but for the debate, he really was effective in his communication of his message and what he stands for.
All right. So look, me as somebody that follows this, that I feel like I tend to have a pretty good, idea of what people think generally about politics and, the kind of people they would support. I think I'm pretty spot on here. Now, this is not just to pat my own back. A lot of us that follow this shouldn't be surprising, but this reaction will be surprising to a lot of people. The only candidates that got support here in terms of who won the debate is Yang, Warren, and Sanders. These are all anti-establishment candidates. Now, obviously to varying degrees, but these are all candidates that are essentially changing the message of the status quo, are pushing for something better. Only those 3 candidates won the debate according to this focus group. And Sanders by far won. So people came in, only 6 of them were Sanders supporters. 14 of them thought he won the debate. I'm telling you, he can absolutely win this. The only thing he needs to really harp on a lot more is the fact that he is the best to defeat Donald Trump. Because I was watching, there are other parts. This is a very long focus group. But there are other parts. There's one person that I was kind of worried that even though she thought Bernie Sanders won the debate, that she's afraid he couldn't beat Trump, and that Biden could beat Trump, because this is the kind of person, they watch a lot of cable news. That's what they hear on cable news. Oh, you need a moderate, even though Hillary Clinton already proved that that's not what you need against Trump. You need someone that actually has a bold message that can bring out non-voters, bring out a lot of people that just generally stay home. Bernie Sanders appeals to young people, appeals to non-voters, appeals to independents, appeals to people that have been disillusioned by this 2-party system. This is why Bernie Sanders is the best to go up against Donald Trump. So he has to really push that message home in the next debate. But overall, look, the points they made here, his personality, he's for the people, his passion, he's clear in his message, he never wavers on issues. I mean, this is all stuff that most of my viewers see this when they see Bernie Sanders, and that's why they support him, because they already know this about him. But this also shows you that just the average person who isn't all that engaged in politics, Bernie Sanders is also appealing to them. They just have to see him more often. So because the media ignores him most times, they don't really get to see or hear his message the way he's able to deliver it in a 2.5-hour debate like this. Now, let me go to the next clip here where there is more discussion around Bernie Sanders. And there is a person, Bernie Sanders flipped this Klobuchar and Biden supporter. Watch.
Well, I thought I liked Amy and Biden.
And who do you like?
Definitely Bernie Sanders.
He won you over also. Tell me why.
He's on fire. He wants this so bad.
Did you say fire?
Yeah, he's on fire.
Explain that. I mean,
He's just feverishly hungry to change the America.
so you responded very favorably to him. My question now is, which is a higher priority? How they communicate or what they stand for? If you had to choose, because when I asked you about Bernie, it was all about his passion. It was about his communication. Which is a higher priority to you as you approach the California primary? Who would say how they communicate? Raise your hands. And who would say where they stand? And yet you told me that it was Bernie's communication. So explain that.
Well, the communication helps you win the presidency. When you are president, then it's what you stand for. But what Bernie can do is he can combat Trump. No matter what Trump says, Bernie has an answer for it, and he's going to say it right away. And I have no doubt of his, he's the best speaker on the stage, so.
With Bernie, it's one and the same. He communicates what he stands for. Because it's not enough to just say you don't like Trump. I mean, of course you don't like Trump, but you got to know what you're for. And I always know what Bernie's for.
Yeah. I'm someone who cares much more about the issues and how they communicate, but I think I'm in the minority. I think everyone in this room is in the minority because we're the kind of people who would show up to this kind of event. Most of America does not care. We want to know who has the most charisma, who can yell loudest, and I think Bernie absolutely won the debate on those grounds alone.
Yep.
It's just interesting that Biden keeps referring to his history as though that's going to remind people that he's presidential. And I think to a lot of people here, everybody sighed when that's mentioned because it feels like you're not telling me anything specific about the future. You keep telling me what you've done in the past, and a lot of that stuff you've had to change your view on because you've been in politics for so long.
Couple more? Yep.
I think that many of the candidates seem to be running more on resume and personal biography, and they want to be president for personal reasons. I think that there are some people who are running where you can truly viscerally feel that they're doing it because they believe in what they're trying to do, and they're trying to do something for us. I think that whether you support Bernie or not, you feel that he's authentic in what he believes.
All right. Just so much goodness there. First of all, the fact that Bernie can flip a Klobuchar and Biden supporter really shows you his appeal. That directly contradicts this idea that, Bernie can't win against Trump because he needs to, Bernie has to get moderate voters. Even if that was the case, Bernie gets moderate voters. Bernie gets people that support Klobuchar and Joe Biden. But apart from that, Bernie also reaches out to a lot of non-voters, young people, independents, people that are disillusioned by the system. So he has this ability to really get people totally across the board. And this is why he's the best to go up against Trump. And that discussion about, communication versus the issues or the platform, it's not either or here. Bernie Sanders has both. You saw people here. This is why he won the debate for a lot of the people in this focus group, because he had that performance. He's authentic, as someone else mentioned there. He's authentic, and that appeals to people, much like Trump's authenticity, even though Trump's authenticity isn't based in him actually caring about anybody, but he's authentic about his feelings. People are attracted to that. That goes to their charisma. Bernie Sanders has that as well, and on top of that, he actually cares about people and actually has a platform to fight for people. So, as that last guy mentioned, in addition to Bernie being authentic, you have these other candidates on stage that appear to be running because of their resume and running for their own ego, for themselves. Bernie Sanders is clearly not that. So, again, it goes to this idea of establishment versus anti-establishment, where Bernie is actually fighting for people, and the status quo, the establishment, the Joe Bidens, Amy Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg, people are done with those kinds of candidates. Now, let me go to this next clip here, where there appears to be a little confusion about Biden versus Bernie, kind of what I was discussing about earlier, going up against Donald Trump. Watch.
Who is a better candidate against Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden?
Joe Biden.
How many of you say Bernie Sanders? Raise your hands. And how many of you say Joe Biden? Raise your hands. So you still see, even though you don't think he did that great, you still see him. Why is he a better candidate? Yes.
Well, I don't see him as the better candidate. I see him as who is going to appeal to those swing states, who is going to appeal to middle America, who's going to appeal to the ones who think that we're too far left and don't want a Democrat.
Hillary Clinton, though? Like, we did the exact same thing with Hillary Clinton, and she didn't connect.
Yeah.
And what happened there? So have Bernie Sanders speak the truth to the middle America. Don't talk down to them. Have Bernie Sanders tell them the truth and tell us the truth.
That guy laid it down. I mean, if he wasn't there to explain the situation, I'm afraid that a lot of people may have left that focus group thinking, oh, yeah, I guess Biden's better to go up against Donald Trump. But no. You already went through this with Hillary Clinton. Like, it really shows you the number that mainstream press is doing on people's brains. The fact that they keep trotting out this idea that, oh, you need somebody that goes to the center, you need a moderate, when they just failed doing that with Hillary Clinton. And on election day, Bernie was beating Trump by 12 points. I mean, it's all there. And look at the states that Bernie won against Hillary in the 2016 primary. I mean, we're talking like Wisconsin, Michigan, West Virginia, like Oklahoma. Like, Bernie Sanders can win these states in a general, but he has to be given the opportunity. The hard part with winning the primary is that a lot of primary states are closed. So you have to be a registered Democrat to be able to vote in them. So that cuts out a lot of people. And because Bernie appeals a lot to non-voters, typical non-voters, a lot to young people, a lot to independents, then a lot of his support base is cut out of a primary. So that goes to the question of, oh, why couldn't Bernie beat Hillary in the 2016 primary? Well, apart from, the DNC heavily favoring Hillary Clinton, it was also the fact that these primaries don't operate the same way that a general election does. So you have to be able to tell this to people. Like, Bernie Sanders should be able to tell this to people on a debate stage, should be able to explain this, not necessarily all, the workings of the primary process, but describe his appeal to typical non-voters, to independents, to young people, and how he will bring those people out in a general against Donald Trump, in addition to every single poll showing Bernie beating Trump. Like, these are the points that need to be driven home now, because there has been so much misinformation from the mainstream press saying that, oh, you need a moderate, you need Joe Biden to defeat Trump, when it's just complete empty BS. There's nothing to it. One more clip here. This is a quick one. This voter gets what this race is about.
I know.
But nobody's missing Mike Bloomberg.
No.
Go ahead.
I don't want to see a fight of billionaire against billionaire, UFC, WWF style. I want to see Bernie versus Trump, because we're in a class war. That's what it is. It's Medicare for all versus the status quo. I want to see where it slides.
So
I want to
where-
see, and Bernie's the only person. Well, I think Warren and him have a similar platform, and I would vote for her as my second choice. I really would. But I want to see it Bernie versus Trump.
That's it. This is a class war. She gets it. People are feeling this. So, and before, as you can see, that it was kind of trailing off a different conversation. Frank Luntz was asking people, who missed Bloomberg on this stage? Nobody raised their hands. Nobody said they would vote for Bloomberg in the primary. So people don't want to see billionaires going after billionaires. They want to see somebody that is actually antithetical to Trump and his message. Bernie Sanders is the complete opposite of Donald Trump. So Bernie Sanders is still a populist, but a populist in the sense that he actually speaks to people. Trump is a fake populist. Bernie's a populist on the actual issues. On issues like healthcare, where he actually supports Medicare for all. Trump pretended to support a healthcare plan before the election that, oh, you'll all be covered. And enough people bought that. But it was always empty. It was always complete nonsense. Donald Trump has only ever been in this for himself. Bernie Sanders actually cares about people, has a 40-year record of fighting for people, and has the platform to get it done when he's put into power, in addition to having the movement behind him that is necessary to put pressure on the political establishment and on the corporate establishment. This is a class war, and Bernie Sanders is best poised to win it.